You don't owe me anything. You don't owe me anything, anything at all. I'd have given to you. And I don't owe you anything.
We're here on the beautiful Coromandel for round 5 of the Spar and Pull Factory New Zealand Offshore Powerboats. Big field, great conditions once again. Is it going to be Placemakers Day, or will Sleepyhead turn the tables once again like they did in the previous round? So with 5 rounds down, it is Placemakers on top with 1,900 points. They lead overall and in the National Open class. In the UIM 3 to 6 litre class, it's SciTech Racing's Grant Smith on top. In National Class A, Greg Crawford and Chindit leads with 1,300 points from Total Oil's Bill Thompson on 925. In Sports Class B, it's John Frew in the Predator over Ross Christensen. And in the Formula Hondas, it is Greg Brink over the Thompson brothers. Well, it was a welcome return to FMI Racing, Warren and Scott Lewis, after having problems in Wellington and not starting the previous 2 rounds.
Yes, yeah. Well, like we've always said to our wives, that safety comes number one, so that's why we did the extensive repairs. So yeah, it's cost us a couple of races through the season, but hey, being the new boys on the block, we wanted to make sure that we're doing it right.
Great to see the FMI team back, and some real problems here for Richard Shaw's and the Placemakers team. Now, they were to put the boat in the water, but they've taken it off the load lift and they've got some dramas, so this could open the door for Jesse James. Now, they're more worried about the new engines in SciTech.
Yeah, I think he will be. Apparently he's just applied some new engines to the back of the boat and found some considerable speed. So today's going to be very interesting. We're definitely going to be looking for him.
Yes, we do have a fresh set of motors for today. They were meant to arrive from the country in January. They finally got here, so hopefully we'll see it go a little faster today. We took it out for a run this week and we're certainly pulling more speed, and the motors are running real nice. So hopefully we'll have a good run today. It doesn't look too rough out there, so we'll see how we go.
Sleepyhead won the previous round and they'll be looking for more of the same.
Consistency, and a little unsure what the conditions are like at this stage. I know one of the boats went out earlier and there's certainly a bit of lift out there, but we're going to just take it as you can only take what's thrown at you, basically.
Well, we're just about set for a start, and you can see for yourself, big crowd in here at Whitianga watching round number 6, and there is an unusual sight. That's Richard Shaw's watching from the sidelines. The problems they had could not be fixed, and they are out. So this will open the door in the overall series to Jesse James. Here is the start. Fantastic conditions as they work their way out to Cedar Island, but the weather forecast tells us that there are some pretty good chops and pretty good swells as they head more offshore. Sleepyhead in the front, Craig Archer and Peter Turner. They won the previous round in the Auckland to Thames race, but they have had a few problems. They're trying to get their championship back on track, and this is the ultimate time to do it. No placemakers, but there is Jesse James, there is Super Cat, Perry Morrison, the team there, and of course we've got a whole heap of Formula Honda boats as well. So ideal conditions as we track them by chopper as they head towards Centre Island. Now this course is an elongated L, a double L if you like, and it is perfect for the spectators. That's why they're lining Buffalo Beach here at Whitianga for some spectacular action like this from the Thompson boys in Honda Marine. So this is Sleepyhead out in the front for the early going here. As I said, 12 laps and they come right down onto the shore, so fantastic for the spectators. This is the onboard shot coming from Jesse James, the 30-foot Chris Craft twin Buick 1300 horsepower machine, and Sleepyhead in the front for the moment. And this is exactly what Peter Turner and Craig Archer will want. No placemakers, remember, they didn't make the start, and that's unusual in itself. On board here with FMI Racing, great to have the Lewis brothers back. They had major problems in Wellington. They discovered a major fault with the hull of the boat and they've gone through and fixed it. That's why they missed the last couple of rounds. SciTech, well, you heard Grant Smith say that they've got new engines in the boat, so they're looking for more speed and more power as they turn and head back to Cedar Island. This is Perry Morris and Bevan Antonelli in Super Cat. Looking for a consistent finish here, and this is a bit of a surprise because this is Alien, Dean Veal, mixing it with the top runners here in this European design boat, an unusual looking boat. Greg Crawford and Chindit, the next one through with that distinctive Evinrude roar. Now this boat, another one of the older ones in the fleet, but Greg and Phil Crawford doing a fantastic job. And as I said, the boat's getting very close to the shoreline, so fantastic for the spectators here. Lots of boats making a first appearance here at Whitianga. One of them, boat number 69, this is the Musketeer, not contending for championship points, but having a great time in the flat conditions down by the shoreline. Joanne Lomax there in Broomstick. Another one enjoying the ideal conditions here at Whitianga. Gets a little bit rough as they head out towards Centre Island. Reported to be swells of over 1.5 meters out there, and this is a close battle too. This is the Honda, the Formula Honda class, a new innovation in the Spar and Pool Factory Offshore Powerboat Championship this year, and this is as close as you like. Kelly Smith in the Gambler, and she's in the front for the moment. Now, no Greg Brink this weekend, he's away on television duties, but Ross Christensen is a very able stand-in, if you like. And James Noble also taking the fight to Kelly Smith. So very close action in the Formula Hondas, and that's what Stuart and the team have come to expect. As close as you like as they work round the control boat and head out onto yet another lap. 2 races within one. The 100-mile race is 12 laps. The 60-mile race is a little bit less than that, and this is the battle in the 60-mile race. Kelly Smith doing her best to stay in the front. There is Joanne Lomax in the Broomstick, a class winner in her own right. And there is Perry Morris and Bevan Antonelli in Supercat. They're currently sitting in around about 5th or 6th place at the moment. These guys, though, continue to lead. Number 44, Sleepyhead. This is Peter Turner and Craig Archer. Had problems with the trimming on the boat a couple of rounds ago, but as I said, they won the Auckland to Thames race, even though they went wrong at the very last stages of it. Jesse James was second in that race. I think I said last week that they were third, but the Velda boys corrected me on that. So they were second. So they're starting to get up into the points. And now with no placemakers, the door is just cracked open a little bit. And talk about close racing. Here we have in the national class racing on board here with Jesse James, the Velda boys. The boat built in 1983, so it is one of the oldest in the fleet, but it's also one of the fastest, capable of around about 120 miles an hour from the twin Buick 1300 horsepower 2 V8 sitting in the back of it. Wayne and Grant Velda looking for their first win in their class here at the Spar and Pool Factory Offshore Powerboat Championship. These guys, well, they're having a bit of a say in it as well. FMI Racing, Grant and Scott Lewis from Auckland back into it. Just ahead of them, it is Cytec. There is DMZ Global. Now, they've had problems and they didn't make the start, so they're now up to full speed, but they missed maybe the best part of a lap and a half, 2 laps. Honda Marine, this is Carl and Travis Thompson. One of 5 or 6 Formula Honda boats. Remember, they are all Sonic hulls. They all run the same control engine, and they choose their propellers at the beginning of each and every day, so it is as even as possible. FMI Racing getting a bit of air as they work their way out towards Centre Island once again, heading away from the big spectator banking here at Whitianga. We're on board here with FMI Racing. And you can see conditions a lot better than we've shown you in the 5 previous rounds, and some side-by-side racing, because if you have a look just by the helmet of Scott Lewis, you will see Cytec Racing. Well, we can tell you there's been a bit of drama, and we've got a new race leader, and it is the boat we ride with here, and there is the digital speedo. Now you'll see that read out to speeds of up to 110 miles an hour. This is the Velda brothers, this is Jesse James, and they are the new race leaders. There is problems from Sleepyhead, we hear. It is a reoccurrence of the trim tab problems. The hydraulic system at the back of the boat looks like it might have failed again, so now they are reduced virtually to just a cruise. So problems for Sleepyhead, that's not going to please Peter Turner any. He's looking to be the first of the drivers to have 5 championships in the offshore powerboating. Of course, Richard Shaw's looking for that feat as well, but unfortunately they didn't start today. Broomstick did. There is Joanne Lomax, well out in control. Getting great shots from our helicopter here. DMZ Global comes through as well. As we said, problems for them earlier on, so they're well down the field now. But looking to just secure something from this one, maybe some points. Another one that's had a troubled season. They had problems at the first round in Taupo with contaminated fuel, and that has haunted them for quite some time. These guys, well, they've had no problems at all. Jesse James is the boat. It was built in the USA back in 1983. It's a Chris Craft, and they are in command of this one, and the boat looks an absolute picture. Now, I mentioned before that the Velda brothers still looking for their first win in class, and that is a fact. These guys, well, they just love it, don't they? This is Chindit, the Crawford boys, working away through, probably sitting in about 5th or 6th place at the moment. Just up in front of them it'll be Alien, but it is all Jesse James as they come back into Buffalo Beach here past the spectators, banking it into the turn and heading out towards Centre Island again. There is the troubled sight of Sleepyhead, Peter Turner and Craig Archer, and you can see from the attitude of the boat it's certainly not doing the pace it was in the previous laps. SciTech coming through, new engines for Grant Smith and the team, and they are paying dividends, because look at this, we saw side-by-side racing in the earlier going with FMI and SciTech, and we got a repeat of it here. You could throw a blanket over these two, SciTech and FMI side-by-side. DMZ Global now back up to full pace, but as I said, problems for them earlier on, and well, they have struggled a little bit in the conditions and with the problems. Bill Thompson, one of the veterans in Total Oils, he would be through in 3rd place in national sports class. Ahead of him it'd be the Alien and Chindit, and these guys, well, they're leading the whole thing. The Pro Flooring sponsor Jesse James, 5 tons of catamaran, 1300 horsepower, and this is this close battle, and it is a close battle in the Hondas. Kelly Smith down there on the bottom of your screen, just going past just for fun. So these two Honda boats racing their separate race, the separate class there. James Downs and Wendy Johansson, and there is the sight of Craig Archer going back to have a look at some problems here for Sleepyhead. Now, we mentioned they had some hydraulic problems. I think this is a different problem altogether, and that will just about seal the win, I'm sure, for Jesse James. And if it does, and what a shot, Sleepyhead dead in the water, and Jesse James powers past him. And there is a graphic look at the speedo. Have a look at the readout. That's a digital speedo as we ride on board here with the Velda brothers from Auckland. And look at the speeds. When the water's flat, the boat just falls. Jesse James in the front, FMI going past a stricken Sleepyhead. You can see that the nose of the boat down, so their hydraulic problems continue. There is the Alien. This is Dean Veal. He would currently be leading the national sports class, along with Stu Beecroft, his co-pilot. And SciTech just about to put a lap on her sister boat there, so Grant Smith and Dave Aldridge and SciTech go past DMZ Global as they work their way back and head out towards Centre Island again. And there is FMI Racing just ahead of them, so tantalisingly close in the UAM 3 to 6 litre racing. FMI Racing, the Aucklanders, brand new to the sport, the veteran chasing them down. This is SciTech Racing, this is Grant Smith and Dave Aldridge. And there is Jesse James out of Snell's Bay and heading down along Buffalo Beach once again. You can see how quickly the speed climbs. They come out of the turn, they got down to about 50 miles an hour, and already they are well up past the 100 mile an hour mark as the checkered flag comes out. A history-making occasion for Jesse James. Grant and Wayne Velda take the first win in the class in the Spar and Pool Factory New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Championship, and they close to within 450 points of the placemakers boat.
Yeah, it was just awesome, wasn't it? You know, we were running about 6,000 RPM and 90 mile an hour down that back straight, just enjoying the racing. We did about 110 across the front here in front of the crowd today, and Sleepyhead were right there, and we just thought it was going to be an awesome duel.
Definitely good work on Mark Ross's behalf, who's our mechanic on the boat. He's done a superb job, really put his heart and soul into it to get us across that finish line today, and what a great feeling.
Well, more hydraulic problems for Peter Turner and Sleepyhead. Looked like a great race for the first couple of laps, Pete, then you guys struck trouble.
Yeah, we seem to have a lot of bad luck on that 4th lap. It's the 3rd race now we've broken down in the 4th lap, so starting to get a bit suspicious about that 4.
What happened?
I'm going to take my number 44 off, I think. We just came up on a swell and just lifted off beautiful, dead flat. Craig throttled off perfectly, just landed back in the water, and that was it. Just tore all the rams out again out of the trim. And yeah, once that happens, you're losing 30 mile an hour.
Well, with Peter Turner struggling for consistency, it opens the door for Jesse James because no placemakers.
We thought initially it was just a strip belt, some teeth on a belt, so we got to pretty quickly to replace that belt, but found the oil pump was in fact not very good at all. So we then pulled the oil pump out and found out that there was bits running through it, so symptomatic of some other issues, so we decided that it just wasn't worth risking and basically leave it on the trailer for the day. And
Fantastic return for FMI Racing and the Lewis boys. First full season in the top of the class.
No, it didn't pan out that way. You know, everybody said they feel their way on the first few laps. Well, it's easy to say that from the shore, but when that flag drops, everybody went for it, and believe me, there was no one out there taking it easy, in my opinion.
In Formula Honda, it is Konica Minolta again, but a fantastic result for Kelly Smith and the Gambler.
It's really just with those boats, who has the best run, who can keep their foot flat for the whole stretch, who gets caught up in someone else's weight, you know, it slows them down a bit, then you take it. It's that close the whole time. I mean, we're just going, we had it, then they had it, then James had it, and it's all over the show. That's what makes it fun. It's great racing.
Well, with just 2 rounds to go in the Spar and Pull Factory New Zealand Offshore Powerboat Racing, only 450 points separate placemakers from Jesse James. In the UIM 3 to 6 litre, it is still Scitech Racing, and in National Class A, it is still Chindit. In Sports B, a DNF for John Frew in the Predator, but he still leads, whilst in the Formula Hondas, it is still Greg Brink in Konica Minolta. Wayne Castle, not only the driver of the placemakers, but also the president of the Offshore Powerboat Association.
oh, awesome venue. I mean, there was great, number of people on the beach. It's probably the first time in about 16 years I've actually watched a race from the beach, but certainly lots of good local support. Brilliant spectator venue. The course was laid out well to take advantage of that, and even just around town in Whitianga, just talking to people and things. They very excited about having it back here. It's been 6 years since we raced in Whitianga. It was thanks to the Valder brothers for putting it together, but at the end of the day I think it's a fantastic venue. Hopefully people with Whitianga will get behind it and make it happen again.